Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Zoonomaly character concept series. So in today's video, the character we've made is called the Watcher. So we're going to this character's backstory, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before we get into any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to Gamerjoob as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. It also keeps you up to date with all the videos that we post. Alrighty, well, let's get into the character concept of the Watcher. So previously in our Zoonomaly character concept series, we've been looking into the second bloom incident. Another zoo has been taken over by the Bloom Order and morphed all of the animals into strange and deadly creatures. The keepers of Bloom Order have sent the new recruit on a mission to investigate this creepy disturbance. It seems that someone has activated another bloom machine and totally corrupted the zoo. This machine is locked behind a large set of doors that can only be activated by scanning a number of secret codes. The player has already scanned a good amount of these codes, but there's still more to go. Each of these codes have been guarded by a monstrous bloom animal, but every time, the player has taken them on and managed to complete their task. But despite all the deadly animals that they've bested, there are still many more codes they need to scan around the zoo. And more codes means more animals. But the next Bloom Order entity that the player will meet isn't necessarily an animal. Although it isn't an animal, it couldn't be called a human either. This corrupted creature is its own dark and evil entity. And little does the player know that it's been watching them ever since they arrived at the zoo. It's been tracking their every movement and keeping a close eye on them. Everything the player has done has been closely observed from afar. But now this evil entity can't sit by and wait any longer. They must stop the new recruit from deactivating the bloom machine and undoing all of its corruption. And although they've watched from afar, they will now get much closer. So the next bloom entity that we're introducing is called the Watcher. The Watcher is quite the strange looking character. Just like the zookeeper, they somewhat have a human-like appearance. The Watcher has been on the Keeper of Bloom Order's radar for some time now, but not too much is known about this dark entity. All they know is that the Watcher mainly observes from afar. It's almost like it studies its prey and learns all it can about them. For the most part, they aren't much of a threat. From what the keepers have observed, the Watcher mainly stays far away. Most people wouldn't even notice they were being watched, and the recruit certainly didn't notice, that's for sure. But as the player has progressed through the zoo, the Watcher has suddenly become much more active. It seems the player has scanned a certain level of codes, and now the Watcher is taking action. But what exactly is the Watcher? Well, from what the keepers can guess, just like the zookeeper, the Watcher was once a specific individual. It seems from their attire and items they were once a bird watcher, mainly due to their utility vest, hat, and binoculars. The Watcher has done a great job of being hidden in secret, but now they'll make themselves known to the player very soon. So now we return back to the player. They're still roaming around the park and on the hunt for the secret codes. But as they continue their search, suddenly they receive a message. It seems the keepers of Bloom Order have contacted them with a warning. The message reads, "Warning, you are in danger. The Watcher has become active. Proceed with extreme caution. Bloomerbang and Bloom Lance will prove ineffective. Appropriate equipment has arrived. Locate item drop and arm yourself. Be careful, recruit. Good luck." So it seems that the keepers of Bloom Order have sent the player another item they can use to protect themselves. They can see the location on their scanner and make their way towards it. Whatever this Watcher character is must be highly dangerous. They need to be on the lookout and avoid it at all costs. But it doesn't take long for the Watcher to find them out in the open. It stands there and stares directly at the player. It's quite tall, with long arms and legs. On its face are two dark hollow eyes and a large mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth. It suddenly charges towards the player. They quickly fire off a shot from their bloomerbang and the strangest thing happens. The Watcher equips their binoculars and the energy from the blast is absorbed into the lenses. The keepers weren't kidding. Front-on attacks won't work on this creature, so the player has to make a run for it to a nearby building or safe zone. The Watcher won't follow them inside, as they can only move out in the open, so the player just needs to wait until it walks away and the coast is clear. The Watcher would always be moving around out in the open, and when they spot the player, they would start chasing them immediately. The player can't continue their mission with this dangerous entity lurking around outside. They need to get a hold of this special item as quickly as they can, and hopefully then they can do away with this evil Watcher. So eventually they continue on their way towards the special item, and after some time searching around, they finally find it. They open the case and reveal their next special bloom weapon. And this weapon is called the Trapper Bloom. The Trapper Bloom is a special weapon that fires a unique trap on the ground. If any bloom creatures wander into this trap, they would immediately be stuck in place and disposed of. How exactly that disposal process would work is yet to be seen. The ammo for this weapon is extremely rare and hard to find. It requires a special energy-saving bulb that is commonly used around the park. In total, there would probably be about 2 of these bulbs lying around at the zoo. Luckily, the keepers of Bloom Order have included one special bulb, so using this weapon would only be necessary if the player truly had no other option. So with the Trapper Bloom at the ready, they wait for the Watcher to find them. And it didn't take long for this evil entity to track down the player. The Watcher charges towards them and the chase was on. The player needs to find a safe zone and fire the trap in front of the Watcher. Hopefully this plan would work and they could successfully capture it. They find a good place to fire the trap from a safe zone. 4 glowing pins fire out of the Trapper Bloom and dig into the ground. Now they wait. And without noticing, the Watcher steps foot into the trap. All of a sudden they are frozen in place. Glowing bands appear around their wrists and ankles. Then suddenly the disposal process begins. The Watcher starts being digitally transferred to another location. It seems they were being transported to the Keepers of Bloom Order headquarters to be contained and studied. Eventually the transfer was complete and the Watcher was no longer inside the zoo. This Trapper Bloom is definitely a powerful object, but with such limited ammo, they'll need to use it sparingly. But now they carry on with their mission without the dangerous presence of the Watcher. But the player isn't out of the woods just yet. They still need to scan all the codes and deactivate the bloom machine. But as to what dangerous bloom creature they'll meet next is uncertain, and until then, we'll just have to wait and see. So I think that the Watcher would be a great addition to our Zoonomaly cast of characters. I think it's interesting to see another human-like entity inside the zoo, and they would definitely put the pressure on the player by constantly roaming around and looking for them. The player would need to keep an eye out and be on guard, because if they aren't careful, the Watcher will strike when they least expect it. Alrighty everyone, well that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, let me know what you thought of the Watcher and what you'd like to see going forward. Also, thank you all for watching, and also a big thank you to our Gamerjoob members as well. But until our next Zoonomaly character concept video, I'll catch you later, bye.